Aloha, everyone. How's everyone doing out there? This is Indar, and I'm your Hawaii Moneymaker guy. And we're super excited today. We have a great guest on here. We had actually a giveaway, and it ended up to being a really amazing person. We're super excited to have
Hayato.
Hayato. He won the birthday giveaway. We do random giveaways, and happened to be an amazing person. Lahaina did like a wheel, and it landed on you. So pretty excited. So yeah, let's do this. Let's dive on in. Let's talk story about real estate. We have some amazing stuff to talk about wholesale, so let's do it. Just before we get started, I'd love it if you guys could subscribe below, and that way we can reach more people and just help people make their money work for them in any different way we can. Thank you guys, and let's get started in today's content.
Awesome. And thank
Perfect.
you so much for having me, Adar.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So yeah, so tell everyone who you are and what you do and a little bit about yourself, and yeah.
Definitely. So my name is Hayato. I own a company called RocketOffr. And what
Mhm.
we do is we wholesale properties across the country. I'm currently living in California, so we do it all virtually. And we've done close to over like 200 plus deals
Mhm.
over our lifetime. And we're hoping to do way more, but we'll see how it goes.
How long you been wholesaling for?
Just about like 2.5 years now.
Nice. And what is your team size and your structure look like right now? Including VAs and so forth? What do you?
Right. At the beginning of 2022, we started really ramping up. And then we initially had maybe like 15 people at the top of 2022. And that's
Mhm.
when we're doing multiple deals at once. And that's when the market was really, really hot, of course.
Mhm. Sure.
And then now it started to slow down. So we actually had to cut the team in just about half. So we had to get a really, really lean team going.
Yeah.
But now we're slowly starting to see a lot of the investors come back. And so with people coming back, we're hoping to see our deal volume increase, month over month right now.
Yeah. So how many VAs or cold callers do you have now? What's your team look like? So you have two, three cold callers, and then do you have closers and so forth? How's the structure?
Yeah, so we have our acquisitions and I know a lot of people call it dispositions. We just call it transactions.
Sure.
And we had just about like four cold callers in the beginning of 2022, and then we had what we call like for acquisition coordinators who really were filtering all the responses that we're getting from other channels like text messaging marketing, and other outbound lead marketing as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then we cut that team in half now. We do still have two of our acquisitions managers as well, who constantly take a look at all the deals that come in and find deals, obviously, for investors. And then on the transaction side, we have two people. One is the transaction coordinator, and then the other is the transaction manager or director of transactions, who takes a
Yeah.
look at all the properties that are coming from the acquisition side and then is able to go ahead and sell those properties to either retail investors or hedge funds that we work with or institutional buyers that we have as well.
People don't touch on that, but I think that's probably the hardest part of wholesaling is actually selling the property, not necessarily
Mhm.
finding a deal. We wholesale nationwide, and we just backed that all the way down now ourselves because we were having trouble selling them. And
Right.
how do you combat, the hedge funds if you find that niche with the hedge fund, right, and you find their buying box and you just stick to
Mhm.
that, that they want I don't know, 3 bedroom, two bath, and whatever square footage is. How do you combat the selling of wholesaling deals? And then you finding people to close too is another one. It's
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question because in the beginning, I was an out-of-state investor. So I bought my first property in Memphis, Tennessee, and I was obviously here in California, super far, but I wanted to
yeah,
see how my first investment property would go. And my initial goal was I want to help people invest from out of country and then find deals for them. And so I was really targeting the retail investors. And so we built our retail investors list up to like 30,000 people.
Mhm.
And then when the market started coming down, in like 6 months ago, we were seeing that a lot of retail investors just backed out. And so half of our investors on our list were just not buying anymore. And even our investors who were buying, they just kind of dipped out. And so we started hitting up more of the institutional investors and hedge funds because we know they have to buy properties. We know that they're looking to buy properties, and some of them are looking to
Sure.
buy 20, 30, 40 properties a month. So we started contacting them, and it was going great up until maybe like mid-December, and then a lot of them slowed down, obviously, because you know everything that's going on in real estate, and at the same time, I think they're just closing the books out for Q4, so and for the year really. So now I'm starting to see more of the retail investors come back slowly because they're seeing that the prices of properties are getting much lower, and they're able to get in there.
But you were
And
selling
then
directly to retail properties? I mean, on the ML, I mean, are you referring to MLS, or are you just referring you had a direct buy box of retail investors? What did you?
so yeah, direct retail investors who that's who we would sell the property to. But then when we do get the properties, we would get it mostly off market. But we do find some deals on the
So
MLS as
these
well.
retail investors, they wanted a discount? Are they all right with buying it at the market, or were they flippers? What do you mean retail
There were
investors?
all of them. They were like they were just people who are looking to flip properties. Some of them were just looking to buy and hold with maybe a little bit of equity built in.
Mhm.
Some of them only looked at cash flow. So it really depends. We had a big list of people wanting
Mm.
a lot of different things. So if we had a property, it usually would cater to one of those buy boxes. But with the rates, it changed a lot of stuff.
Mm. So
Mhm.
you're able to sell a lot of these deals to this big list of retail investors. Is that what your prominent sales is? They were into certain states and cities, and you would cater towards them. What cities and states are you in
Right.
anyway? Or
So
states?
initially, we were mainly in Memphis, Tennessee, St. Louis, Missouri, Detroit, Michigan, and
Hmm.
Cleveland, Ohio.
Hmm.
And then with the funds, they loved the Sun Belt region. So we were kind of forced in to go to like Florida, Georgia,
Hmm.
Texas. Texas is probably where we do most of our deals with the funds now. Um, but yeah, we opened that buy box up a little bit more. But initially, we were really just focused on the Midwestern areas.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I mean, it's a great place to buy. So you
Mhm.
so how's your wholesaling process work? You're buying your list, you're skip tracing it, you're using batch to skip trace, or what do you?
So we currently so we pull the list from PropStream. We
Yep.
get the list there, and then from there we use something called Versium. That's the skip tracing service we use.
Mm,
Um, skip trace the service. It is very inexpensive too. That's why we went with them. They just have a
mm.
very long contract that you go with. And then from there, we have our cold callers, our texters kind of go in, and then really try to reach out to as many people as possible.
What's
At the
your
peak of it,
what's your CRM that you're using? Podio, you built your own, or do you have the platform you use, or
we use Zoho CRM, so we kind of custom built it.
Zoho?
We
I never
initially tried yeah, Zoho.
I never
It's
heard
like
of Zoho.
Salesforce.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Salesforce.
Zoho has like a lot of customized. Yeah, you can customize a lot of things on
Do
Zoho,
you
so
have
we
to
really,
build it
really
out
like
like
that part.
Podio? Do you have to build it out like Podio, or you have to create it all?
You do have to build it out, but I think it's way more customizable than Podio because we
Mm.
initially did try Podio too, but I just didn't like how it's laid out initially. And Zoho has a lot of products, like they have Zoho Sign, Zoho Sales IQ, Zoho Form. Like I was surprised how many different products Zoho has, and it all integrates with the CRM and it
Hmm.
talks together. So it's super, super useful. So like if someone goes on our website, we have a chat bot with Zoho Sales IQ, and
Yeah,
then that feeds directly into the CRM. And when we send contracts, we use Zoho Sign. So then people, when they
that's
sign
great.
contracts and whatever, again, it filters back into the
Yeah,
CRM.
yeah,
So
yeah. That's
super,
amazing.
super easy.
And you're skip tracing with them too, right? You said you skip
Our
trace
skip
with them.
tracing is Versium.
Oh, Versium. I thought you said so. Okay. Zoho sounds
Yeah.
pretty cool. And then the Zoho does follow up. Can you do text blasting and email or any kind of follow ups with them, or virtual English
Yeah, you can do
voicemail?
emails and Yeah, you can do emails and whatnot through Zoho, but I wouldn't recommend doing the texting, like ringless voicemail and Zoho. It's just not the best. It's really like you have to go into every single property. So we use a different software for that.
What do you use for those? What do you do for those?
Uh, we we use a software called Alware.
Oh, never heard of that either.
Mhm.
Just so many different products out
Mhm.
there. I'm just on
Yeah,
a
if you need
big,
an introduction, let me know. I'm
yeah,
good friends with the guy who founded it. So.
nice. And so you use hours to do your text blasting and your ringless voicemail and all your follow-ups with
Yeah,
those?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But all the reminders are set from Zoho saying, hey, you should go reach out to this person, reach out to this person. All the notes are also taken in Zoho. So really, yeah,
Do you
our
have
going
any
back and
automated
forth is
follow-up right away when the second they're calling in or messaging in, you have an automated right away follow-up to them within 5 seconds? Do you have something or yeah.
we just have people honestly like just all day looking through
Oh,
the
just
text
people.
messages that come in.
Oh,
Yeah, it's just people
you're
because
dependent on
sometimes,
people. Yeah.
right, we did
We
have
have it on our
follow-ups and we
podio.
didn't.
We have it on our podio. We had it all set up. I think we turned it all off now, where it would just
Oh, did you?
automating and it just automating follow up right away within 5 seconds um, for the follow up campaigns. Um,
Oh, that's good.
because it was critical to be in front of them right away as they're calling in and so forth. Um,
Right, right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense too. I know we try to automate a few things. We do automate like the first, message that goes out, and then when they
mhm.
respond, we try to have that automated too.
Yeah.
But as soon as that message goes through, then we pretty much have a person on it right away.
What do you like better, text messaging or cold calling or closing that?
I I I
What?
I mean, I personally like text messaging just way more because you get to hit just that many more people at once.
Yeah.
We try to avoid like some states because there's a lot of like litigation stuff that you have to worry about. Like
Mm,
Florida, I wouldn't really touch with text messaging just because of that reason.
mm,
Um, so if you're in more like relaxed states, but still trying to be compliant as much as possible, scrubbing like all the lists, the
yeah.
DNC list, and all that as well. But yeah, the text messaging has been better for us because cold calling, you're usually limited to the number of people you can reach. At one point, we're texting, like close to 400,000 people a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a lot. And we would never hit that with cold calling unless we had like a massive, massive call center or team behind us. So
Yeah, that's a lot of calls to do in a month. But
it is.
what does your marketing campaign look like this, monthly? How much do you spend on marketing? What's your ad spend?
Yeah, so we cut it down quite significantly. We're doing more and more like joint ventures now.
Hmm.
We're having like we're trying to build more networks with real estate agents and whatnot to send us pocket listings. So we cut everything in half, but we were spending close to about like 20,000 in marketing per month,
Yeah.
20 to
Nice.
30,000. Um, but now we've cut that to half with agents and other wholesalers and whatnot sending us deals, which works really great because, in these tough times where they can't move a deal, we can help move these
Yeah,
deals,
you sound like you
especially if
got
our fund
your
likes them.
yeah, it sounds like you got the end buyers in place, which is the biggest struggle, I'd say, to a lot of people. But
Right,
you got that early on. You
right.
built that team, the list early on, which is great. It-
Yeah, and especially with institution guys, like you have to build, it took us like a year and a half to just build like one relationship with them. And,
mm,
you know, it kind of goes off from there because they really don't know whether or not to trust you and they don't like to work with like a lot of wholesalers because they know
yeah,
they
yeah.
can't really trust them or it's not very professional, but we try to keep it as professional as possible.
Yeah, because
And that way
technically
I
you're
think,
supposed to own the property before, so you
right,
gotta.
which is why we also double close on most of the deals that we do with the funds.
Oh, so you have lenders that you need to fund deals. So you do raise capital.
Uh, so like some title companies, they're able to do the funding from the A to B side with B to C funding.
Mm,
So like the capital comes in from whoever is buying it at the end, and then they'll use that to fund the initial A to B contract that we have. So we
Oh,
actually don't necessarily raise capital, but
they'll allow it
yeah,
to pass through. Oh, yeah. So it's not a
yeah,
true double close. That's a good escrow agent. That's a trick to
right.
have.
Or you can get transactional funding
Yeah, 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 yeah,
for like 1 to 3%, I think. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And you got a source for that, of course, right?
Right, right,
Yeah, 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 yeah. Nice. These
right.
are problems a lot of people don't realize that are the hardest part of it all. They see wholesaling and they see, oh, I just get a contract and I sell a contract. They don't realize that there's a lot. Closing the deal is sometimes the hardest part of the deal. Not necessarily
Yeah,
locking up the deal. People are only stuck on the, hey, I got to talk to this seller and lock up the deal. There's so much
yeah,
more to it all that it's a lot more moving parts. It's almost like locking up the deal becomes the simple process where you know how to do
yeah,
that in your sleep. It's the rest of it, to make this deal
right.
close and figure it out and get this seller to be on board with, yeah, signing the contract, and some of those hurdles to jump
Yeah.
over it all.
Yeah,
And
there's a lot of stuff. I think it's 50% of the work when you get the thing under contract, and then the other 50% is really
yeah,
to be able to move it. And it does become a lot easier if you know exactly who you're going to sell it to,
yeah,
uh, afterwards. But even then, there's some complications that come up too, which we've
yeah.
had a few times.
Well, it sounds so you use a lot of the iBuyers out there. Any of the big firms or just small hedge funds? Do you use iBuyers or any of the big ones you work with for
Yeah,
selling
there's
them?
a lot of the iBuyers that, we're buying. I mean, like Open Door, I don't think they're buying anything at this point.
Yeah.
OfferPad, I don't think either. So the ones that we're working with is more like mid-sized funds and
Mm,
institutions. I think that's our sweet spot because, they require like teams to help them acquire more and more properties because they want to do big volume. They want to do like 40 deals a month, but they don't necessarily have all that infrastructure in place
mm,
yet. So then we're there to help them and
mm.
kind of provide deals.
How'd you
Um,
find these iBuyers? Or just Google search or word of mouth or
so we went to a good amount of conferences. We also went to, and I've like cold outreached a lot of them too.
mm,
So I would also see like all the sold properties nearby. And usually, if it's in
sure.
an LLC, it's someone, and if it's the LLC that pops up a lot of times, then we'll go ahead and look them up and see, okay, who might be that person? You can't
Yeah,
always find them because it's a little
yeah,
bit harder with LLCs to
yeah,
try to contact the registered agent and then see who that might be. But like Open Door, they buy it as Open Door Trust, so it's pretty easy to find.
yeah.
And other ones too, they kind of have a name where it's easier to find. So we'll try to connect and cold outreach and see like which of them might be interested in buying and which one might not be.
Is that what you were primarily doing at the beginning, building those relationships, or do you have team members building those relationships?
Yeah, that's kind of like my task really,
Yeah,
as the
yeah,
owner. Like I'm trying to bring in more
yeah,
relationships like that, and everyone else is focusing on acquisitions, and then just once we get it under contract, then they're talking to them. But the
yeah.
initial point of contact, I am making. But initially, we were doing strictly retail too. So like the first 2 years of our business, we really were just working with, everyday
Investors.
mom and dad, like
Yeah.
investors, yeah, fix and flip companies, turnkey companies, and whatnot. But yeah, we had to pivot a little bit more recently, but those were the people that we used to work with majority of the time.
Yeah. No, we were
Hmm.
wholesaling last year. I mean, I don't do as much volume wholesaling as you do. We only did
Hmm.
a couple 100,000 we made in wholesaling, but um, yeah, the problems I didn't like with wholesaling is it's a lot of work. People don't realize it's a
Hmm.
lot of work. It's a lot of time consuming. It's a full-time business. So I'm trying to run a flipping
Yeah.
company and all these other companies. So it's a full-time. It's a lot more stressful, honestly, to me than flipping a house. Um,
Oh, is it really?
yeah, flipping house is easy to me, but yeah, wholesaling was a little more, it's just more labor intense, workforce intense. You know, you have your whole
Right.
teams and you're constantly following up on your, you know, the teams and everything.
You must
Um,
have like really good contractors then, I'm assuming, to
well,
be
I
able
have a
to.
I have a contractor's license, so it's just I grew up in that world, so I know that
Yeah.
space very well. You know, I like fixing things. Um, so always working with contractors has been my strong point. So
Yeah.
it's
That makes a lot of sense because I've
yeah,
always had like that's the hardest part. I feel like most people trying to go into flipping is getting that contractor relationship and being able to nurture that so that you have
yeah,
trust built between
and you're trying to
that
do it
person.
overseas. Yeah, so yeah, it's easy
Right.
back in your backyard, but we have 7 flips going across the US right now, and big flips.
Mhm.
And you know, it's a different animal when you can't see, touch, and feel a property, you know. So you have to you
Yeah.
learn experience asking the right questions and finding the right person. But still, even then, you know, you're still dealing with people, and people are people. People change, and people are people. And in the construction
Yeah.
guys are a little different type of person. But um,
Yep.
but yeah, we totally shut down our whole wholesaling business about
Oh,
three,
did
four
you?
months ago when the market shifted. I recognized that, and I don't know how much you make off your wholesaling deals, but we were only making, you know, maybe at the most like 10 grand. Rarely we get a
Mhm.
big one here and there, but um, we had one big one actually. We made 100, but
Oh, wow.
we we were only making like 10 grand or a few grand maybe on some of them, which a lot of people in wholesaling I think
Mhm.
fail to talk about. It's like how much,
Yeah.
okay, you do, you know, 10 wholesaling deals in a month, but how much do you make from those 10? You
Right.
know, sometimes it's only a couple grand, uh, you know,
Right.
for it all, which is great, but um, you know, then that the overhead is pretty huge for
Yeah.
wholesaling. Your marketing is
Yeah.
and the team and all that. It's pretty huge.
Yeah. It can definitely add up, especially the marketing side, which is something I've learned too. I think keeping the lean team is probably like
Mm,
the best way to go about it too, because we try to scale, and then the bigger the overhead we got, we're like, well, is it producing us? We hired 2 times more people. Is it producing twice as much more
yeah,
deals? And it necessarily wasn't that case either, because a lot of times you're reaching out to the same people and you're nurturing that relationship and all that too. So yeah, I do agree that keeping a lean team is really, really key. And
is it just you, or do you have a right hand man, or do you have somebody who, you know,
yeah,
with
I
you
have a
over there in California?
co-founder.
Okay,
Yeah,
you and him
yeah,
are to get teammate or partners, I guess you'd say.
right,
Yeah,
right.
he's
Yep. And
in
then with
California. Yeah.
yes, and
Oh,
he's a software guy, so he's the guy who like kind of built up
mm,
the CRM
that's a
and
perfect
yeah,
that's a perfect partner. Yeah, yeah, especially for
yeah,
all the build out of it all and the integration of it all. Like people don't think,
mhm,
like you were just talking about a few softwares and apps, Soho and all this, but it's a lot of integration to make it all work well together, you know,
it is.
seamlessly. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, software's super, and especially now too, and especially for us because we're trying to do everything virtual and it needs to be the system and processes need to be very,
yeah,
very good. Otherwise, we're going to have a lot of inefficiencies and that can cause a lot of problems in any
yeah,
transaction. So,
yeah.
yeah,
Or missed deals, you know, the other thing is,
right.
you know, I actually get my phone is blown up a lot with cold callers in the morning and text messaging because I own property all over the US, and
Right.
I get it all the time, you know, sell my property. And you know what, the one thing I see most people, and I get it every day, so I mess with them
Mhm.
sometimes and they don't know who I am. So I play the role all kinds of different ways, and sometimes I go with it. Hey, I'll sell you this property right now for 20 grand, and I'll reply back on a text. No follow up, no nothing. That's the one thing you don't see, I think, mostly in the business is the follow up of it all. And it
Yeah, it's
stems
so
from
important.
that. It stems from your VAs or whoever you're working with. Are they on it and so forth?
Yeah, I think the follow-ups are honestly, like you said, the most important thing is we've gotten deals because we followed up for like 6 months. We've gotten deals because we followed up for 12 months. And people don't do that too when they say, hey, I'm ready to sell, 6 months from now. You kind of forget about it, especially if you don't have a CRM. They're like, oh, whatever, I'll remember, but then two
Yeah,
weeks go
right.
by, you just
No
forget.
way. No way. Yeah, you
But if
all.
you have it in your CRM, it pops up and you're like, oh, I need to go reach out to this person. And it makes
Yeah,
a huge, huge difference
yeah.
for sure.
Would
Yeah.
you recommend anyone out there to start wholesaling? Because they make it seem easy. Everyone makes it seem easy. You can wholesale a few deals, but scaling wholesale is a different animal. Would
A
you
100%. Yeah. It's not easy. I would say like it's simple. The concept is simple, but it's
concept
not
is
easy.
yeah.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to get a property under contract and to then be able to sell it. And whenever someone asks me like, "Hey, I want to get into wholesaling, like what should I do? What do you think?" I always usually the first advice I give is if you find or if you know someone who is willing to buy, find that investor first and then bring them a deal that works for them because now
Yeah.
you have someone that
Mhm.
you can sell it to and then get their buy box and you can have a smaller and targeted list that you're going after so you're not spending big marketing dollars. And a lot of times you'll know exactly what to get it under contract for because they'll tell you like whether or not they can do it at this price or not. So I would try to go to, that's what I usually tell someone to do, if they
Yeah.
can.
You
That
said it
way
right
it
there
makes
that
it
we've
easier.
just been talking about the whole conversation is finding that somebody, that investor, that buy box that, and
Mhm.
not just locking up some random deal in Texas and you have no one to sell to. Texas was saturated like crazy. I don't know how you're doing in
Yeah.
Texas, but Texas was a hard state to wholesale. Have you ever been on an investor lift on
Yeah.
there? Yeah. Yeah. Have you sold anything off of there? Texas there's like hundreds of wholesale deals in Texas.
There's a lot. There is a lot. I have not, but I will say they have like a lot of good.
We
Yeah, they
we
have a good
tried them.
list of like all the
We
yeah,
tried them out and we never did sell anything off of there, but I actually did buy something
yeah.
off of there, but oh,
Yeah,
it's
we've done like JV deals like with someone in investor, but we've never sold anything there either.
yeah, it's super saturated. Texas was saturated, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, we wouldn't go there if we didn't have the institution that was buying or the fund that was buying. Otherwise, you know, I had no connections really there until they told us, yeah, we're going to buy heavily here.
mm,
So I think in total, just in the Texas market, they're looking to buy like 80 with this one fund. They're looking to buy like 80 properties a month. And
mm.
so we're, yeah, they do have capacity and
What is their
it's
buy box? They'll just tell you bedroom, bathroom, and square footage is basically, and location.
yeah, very complicated. I mean, they're in like the DFW market, Houston as well. Anything bigger than 3 beds, 2 baths.
Mm-mm,
Usually most funds have like the same buy box, 1978 built plus
mm.
1,000 square feet plus. They don't like pools. Um, and no major roads, not near a major road and all that. So that's yeah, typically that's what most hedge funds look for anyway. So yeah, we're looking for those properties and trying to source as many as we can to them right now.
Yeah,
So we're looking to partner with agents and wholesalers and whatever that they have, like pocket listings, off market ones, especially now if they can't sell it, like we know we can sell it as long as it fits that buy box. So
mm-mm.
we're trying to make those connections as much as possible now.
To find your leads, to find your deals. There are other wholesalers. So
Right.
maybe you got to get on Invest Next and go call
Right.
those guys.
Yeah.
There's like hundreds on there. I was just looking the
Yeah.
other day. But
Yeah, there is.
what did you do before real estate? What's your background before all of this? And we never even did touch on that.
Right. So I'm 26 now.
Yeah.
I started the business when I was 23. So just 2.5, 3 years ago.
Mhm.
Before that, I was working at a company called Hyperloop Transportation Technologies. They were like Elon Musk's idea of tube travel with
Sure.
the maglev train. So that's what I was doing for about 2 years after graduating from college. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much what I did. And in college, I went to Loyola Marymount, which is just in
Mhm.
the Playa Vista area in California, if people know. Um, yeah, that's what I was doing.
Nice. So what are you doing now with all your money you're making? Are you buying rentals? Do you have any rentals? Where you been putting it besides back into the company?
Yeah, I mean, most of it goes all the way all back in the company. But for me, I buy rental properties. I've been buying a lot of Section 8 properties in
Sure.
Detroit. That's kind of like the market that I like. They cash flow like crazy, to be
Yeah.
honest. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like the Section 8 income from the government.
Detroit. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a few things, yeah, there's a few things that we have to like look out for. And a lot of people have like you know, oh, it's Detroit. But honestly, like it's been a pretty good market for me. I bought in like Memphis and Cleveland and stuff as well too. But I personally have really enjoyed investing in Detroit, so I'm looking to do that more as well. Um,
How many properties do you have
and
total
yeah,
now
I sold a few, but now we're up to like about six-ish. Yeah, six.
in Detroit?
Yeah, they're
Okay.
all in Detroit.
Nice. Oh, you sold the Memphis stuff?
Yeah, I sold the Memphis one and Cleveland one. I'm doing a few flips in Detroit right now, personally. And the
Oh,
others I'm keeping as rentals. Yeah.
you're doing some flips up
And then
there.
the rest,
Nice.
yeah, yeah. Just just personally on my own because I know the contractor there and it's yeah, they can do a pretty good job at it. So mhm.
Yeah. Nice. And how do you source those deals through your team, through the cold callers and so forth?
No, I just find it on the MLS. Because I don't want to touch the wholesale deals that we get. That's for the company to sell and make money for. So
Oh,
when
yeah.
I find deals, I just find it on the MLS, and it doesn't take me too long. Especially in the Detroit market, there's a lot of inventory out there. So I just pick one that works, have my contractors do the renovations, and then just list it back on the market.
Nice. How many have you done now up there in Detroit?
This would be my third one that I'll be
Nice.
doing.
And you're making more flipping
Yeah.
or than wholesaling? Are you
Ye- Well, I think no, I'm definitely making more wholesaling than flipping. The wholesaling it's because it's just me by myself too.
yeah.
And then the flips that I'm doing in Detroit are like the ones where I'm buying it for 50, putting in 30, selling it for 120.
Not, oh, not
And
much.
that
Oh, sheesh. Yeah.
the entire project takes like, 3 to 4 months
Yeah.
um to, you know, buy, renovate, and sell. 3 to 4 months is usually
Yeah.
the time frame. So when
If
you
you can,
spread out that, net 20,000 profit over the course of 4 months, it's really like you're making 5 grand a month. Where as in wholesale, like I can make 20 grand off a deal, and then that's within a 30-day time frame. So that's kind of how I take a look at it too.
hmm.
Um,
What do you average off your wholesale deals too? We never even asked.
with the funds, we try to do anywhere between like 15 to 20,000.
15 to 20,000. Nice. 20,000. Nice.
Yeah.
That's a nice wholesale feel. Not the
Yeah.
norm. The norm is 10, I would say. The norm would be 10. So
Right.
you're making more than the normal person. How do you generally pick how much you're going to make? You play around with that number,
Mhm.
of course.
Yeah, we generally know like what the offer would come out to. So we have that number and then we try to go below that to
Mm,
make our spread. And then so it's really just negotiation from there and we try to negotiate as much as we can, obviously
yeah,
to make that spread where the seller is also happy still and we make our spread and then it
yeah,
goes to the fund pretty easily too. But yeah, the margins in like Texas are definitely bigger than the ones out in the Midwest. In the Midwest, when we were doing deals, we were doing more volume for sure, but the average assignment was like 7,500 bucks.
mhm.
So just about half of what we're currently doing.
How many deals you're doing now with the where the market's at now? How many deals a month, or how much did you do last month with our market?
It's so volatile now. So, I mean, the average out of the 3 months, like November, I think we did like 6 or 7. December,
Nice.
I think we did like 4. January, I think we closed like 4 as well. So,
Well,
yeah, it's kind of here and there, but we're trying to do like bigger spreads,
mm,
more picky with the deals that we get.
yeah.
Because initially we were doing it for the volume game,
Now you
but
just want to be
now we're
the
really,
big fat juicy
yeah,
ones and take those. Yeah. Yeah. Make more and
yeah,
less work. Yeah.
exactly. The ones we know we can sell to.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Because we were getting, you know, at one point we were doing like 10, 15, 20 deals a month.
Mhm.
But like you said, some of them were like 3 grand, four
Yeah.
grand.
Yeah. But
And
if you have enough
when
spread,
you're doing volume,
yeah, if you have enough
yeah,
spread, 20 grand profit, you have room to move if you need to, down to 10 grand to make it move, or, you know, when you have
yeah,
bigger profits on it. Yeah.
exactly. And then like you're doing if you did 6 3 grand deals versus one 20K deal, it's
Sure.
easier to do a one deal at
Yeah.
20K
Yeah.
and you make the same amount. And we don't have to overwork the TCs and we actually can make the team leaner that way too. So that's kind
Hmm.
of how we're trying to do it. If we can do, 5, 6, maybe even 10 at 20K, that's
Yeah.
well over our expenses for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. A month. Yeah. Hell yeah. That'd be
oh yeah.
nice.
So, right.
That's that's awesome. I love
Right,
talking
right.
about wholesaling and all of it. People don't dive into it as much as they, I think, talk about sometimes. I think
Yeah,
the struggles of it all. And if you watch all the other people out there, they never really touch bases on how hard it can
they
be.
don't.
Yeah, they make
I
it.
know because sometimes I see it on social media too. I'm like, it's
Yes.
not, it's not like that.
Yeah, it's not like
It's
that.
not like,
Yeah.
oh, you can make $20,000 quickly. No, and then you see the check of like, 20,000. You're like, oh, I can do that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
No, like they spent 15,000 to get that deal
Yeah. Yeah.
or to make that deal happen.
Or that
So
was
there's
their
a lot
one
of
big
things.
deal they got out of, 10
Right.
other deals of 2 grand, of 3 grand of deals. And, you know,
Yeah. I think it's more important to be like transparent about all of it too, because I know you're super transparent about flips, and
yeah.
I try to be as transparent with my business too, and like
Yeah.
how
People think it's easier and they
everything's
can just do it, learn it in a month or something. I'm sure you've
right.
been learning years of failing, this
I'm still
struggles of
learning.
it all. Yeah, it was still learning, of course, but the struggles
Yeah,
of what works and don't work. But it sounds like you got a good system going and you got a good end buyers there, which is honestly, I think, is the key to it all.
I
Having
really
that
do think so too.
end buyers, and you're still finding more. So,
Yeah,
that's great.
those connections are invaluable for sure, and we have a few funds that we're hoping that they'll come back. They said
Yeah,
they'll come back like sometime in Q1, but we'll see.
yeah,
And it's kind of like you know, you want to sell to the funds because it's good money, but you also don't want to kind of because inventory is being taken up. But from what we've seen with like, you know, Open Door and OfferPad and all these like properties who bought a lot of properties and holding it in their
yeah.
inventory, they're actually liquidating a good amount too. And that will happen from time to time as well. So even if they're eating a good chunk of the market share there, I feel like, there will still be opportunities where the properties may come back in market, but it does make sense because as they buy more, you'll see less of it come back on the market, which is kind of unfortunate. But business is business, and we have to you know do what works for us and makes money for us. So it's kind of like you know something to think of, something that I've been thinking about too a lot. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but
Well, yeah, I think our market's coming back around. I feel it already coming back around on a few deals. So at
yeah,
least we're steadying out right now. The interest rates feel like are steadying out. I think we're going to be in this 5, 6 rates, and I think once we steady out, it should turn back around. I
Yeah.
the market just goes like that. You're going to do well, when interest rates are high, it's gonna kick out all the
Mhm.
weaker of the industry, and then when the interest rates come back lower, everyone's gonna come back in, and it's gonna look hot and sexy again. The real
Yeah.
estate flipping thing was cool. Just the last 2 years, it was anyone could do it. You couldn't kind of make a mistake on it almost. So
Right.
now you have to know your stuff to be able to make money. You have to be on it at this point to dial it
Yeah, I
all
think
in.
so. I think a lot of people, I think in the short-term rental space too, are kind of feeling that too. Because I think it was like a you could not lose kind of situation with
Mhm.
Airbnbs and short-term rentals, but now they're realizing there's a lot of supply now in the Airbnb space
Yeah,
and they need to make money somewhere else. And they're like, well, it
I
doesn't make sense in
preach
the long term.
I preach that all the
Yeah,
time. Exactly what you said there. Like if you're going to buy a short-term rental, make sure it works as a long-term, that you have that plan B, because if not, you're
right.
screwed. And I preach that all the time. Make sure you have plan B ready, because I've had Airbnbs for years now, and you got
Mhm.
to be ready to pivot.
Yeah.
And we actually been pivoting some of them into midterm rentals. They're
Yeah.
not legal. Sorry, they weren't legal Airbnbs. They're single long-term rentals. We're pivoting into midterm. We're going up, not down, to midterm
Oh,
rentals.
gotcha.
Yeah, because the midterm
Gotcha.
rentals
Gotcha.
are
Yeah, that's what I've been saying
pretty.
a lot too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
a
think it's important. That's the one biggest thing I've learned in real estate too. Always have like a plan B, then
mhm.
C, D, E, F too,
Yeah,
just in
yeah,
case, because
especially for the
you
wholesaling
really never
deals.
know.
Yeah, the wholesaling deals. If you can
Right.
flip it too, you know, uh, that's what some of those flips we have in the mainland going on. That I think we tried to kind of wholesale it. We weren't really trying, but these flips are like
Hmm.
they're like $100,000 profits in flips. So we're like, we'll do it ourselves, instead of
Hmm.
trying to wholesale it. We
Yeah,
couldn't wholesale it. It's
but
the
then if you
bigger,
can flip it for 100,000,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, the bigger, fatter deals you kind of want to keep sometimes yourself. And,
yeah.
yeah, it's cool to talk story with you, and I'm glad you know your stuff, because I sometimes talk to people about out of it all, and they they make it seem like it's easy, or
Hmm.
it's a walk in the park. And but yeah, I'm glad
I,
I'm glad you're
yeah,
doing it. And
I
I
don't think
love the
any,
Bible Belt too. So if you are buying stuff down in the Bible Belt, I've been wanting some bigger stuff down in the Bible Belt, the Sun Belt,
okay.
those areas, bigger stuff, multifamily. We've been trying to find.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, the rentals are great. Section
Got
8
it.
is great down there. But
Yeah, yeah. Section 8 is I do love that strategy because it's just you have to reinspection, and then just have to pass those, and that can be
yeah,
kind of a pain depending on where you are. But yeah, I don't really know about the Section 8s and other like Texas and Florida,
it,
whatnot.
it
But
it's every state's hard. Like we have Section 8 in Connecticut, which I thought would be easy,
yeah,
but they're a little harder in that state. Some states are easy, and some are harder.
yeah.
So
I feel
um
like the hardest thing is they're always slow. They're that's the thing. Like it's not
yes.
quick.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
reinspection takes like a month,
Yes,
and
yes, yeah.
I
I
can
have a
fix it up in
rental.
2 minutes.
Yeah, I have a rental right now. I've been every day like emailing them actually right now. Like,
Right.
yeah, where are we at? Like the renter's ready to move in. We have it all nice, and it's like, come on.
Yeah. All you have to do is walk through it for 20 minutes and I can start
Yeah,
getting my check in, but
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it is
In
it
in
is what
Hawaii,
it is.
Section 8's great here. I like Section 8 here. But okay, we
Yeah.
have a question we have to go answer. So at the very end of this, we have a Q&A, investor highlight, we call it. And somebody, Keone, asked a question. If you can go over and start with the whole journey again, what would you change, if anything? So if you were to go back to when you first started wholesaling, what would you change and how you did it? Or
That's a great question. I think what I would do is keep a leaner team like I am right now,
Mhm.
not try to go because now I know what works too. So I'm not gonna hire like 8 cold callers initially, and then,
Mm,
6 other people to handle inbound leads from other marketing channels. I'm going to focus on one and really secure the investors up front and really understand their buy box. Because when I say understanding the buy box, a lot of people think, oh, well, they just buy in this zip code. Okay, I'll just find you properties there. Well, no, that's not just it. You need to know as much as you can. Like, how are they calculating renovations? Like, where are they getting those numbers? What's the average rehab budget that that investor has? How are they running ARVs? Because everyone kind of does it differently too. Is it within a
yeah.
0.25 radius? Is it the similar square footage? How are they coming up with rent comps? And you're really dissecting how that investor is doing their business and
Mhm.
actually acquiring properties. So then that way you can actually get that property for them that works and at a deeper discount. So then you can get a
Yeah.
quick and easy sell after.
It's
So
that ARV. That ARV is everything. So figure out what they see it because so many brand new wholesalers out there are I think, way off on their ARVs a lot of time. So,
yeah,
figuring out how to just run a comp and figure out ARVs is super critical. I think that a
right.
lot of people don't look
It
at.
is. It is, and I think it's super specific to each investor because you can even ask like 5 different real estate agents, "Hey, comp
Yeah,
this out," and they'll give you different CMAs, and
yeah.
they'll be like, "Hey, this one's this," and then another one will tell you no. So everyone has their own idea, but just asking that specific investor, what are you like? How are you looking at it, and how do you
Mhm.
analyze it? Really helps you analyze the deals, I think, way better, and it'll make you, I think, that much more successful and keeping those relationships. So that's what I
Yeah.
would do if I were to start all over again.
So it's lean team, know your ARVs, and find, of course, some good end buyers and work with those.
Right.
As you've already started at the beginning.
Right.
Nice. Yeah. And
Yep.
I
That's
would
exactly.
suggest to start keeping properties more. I've been flipping for a while, and I was always into like just make money now, make the 50 grand, 100 grand now. And I so wish I kept rentals. And
Mhm.
it's just you look smart when you own rentals in a long period of time. When you flip a house, you just make money now, and it's great.
Yeah.
But I'd rather have more rentals, and I kick myself in the butt for not buying rentals sooner myself. Um,
Yeah, I think that's such a good point, and that's what I'm trying to do a little bit more of too this year. Like for me personally, I want to buy way more and
mm,
keep them as well because I'm like, oh, if I just flip it, I can make 20 like a quick
yeah,
20,000 right here.
yeah, yeah.
But
But then you're
yeah,
only going to make
and
like 200, 300 grand a month in cash flow. You're like, ah. But I tell you, the savings
yeah,
is in the cost seg. And when you do that, you know what a cost seg is and everything. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So that's the game changer because now your wholesaling business can kick ass and make money there. And you can get these rentals to zero out your taxes and offset your taxes. So you're paying, zero taxes. So
right,
that's
right.
the true benefit that you make a lot more than anything in
That's
in
true.
in having the
Yep.
rentals.
And then 100% agree. Do you buy all your rentals in Hawaii or do you have
No,
it
no,
in like
we're
different areas? Because I know you said Cincinnati
yeah,
or Connecticut,
Ohio,
you said.
Connecticut. We're buying something. Janesville, I have a Milwaukee deal, big
Oh wow.
complex working on. Yeah, wherever the numbers look amazingly great right now, I'll buy it. So the numbers have to be great. We have other stipulations,
Yeah.
large cities, and the whole. We analyzed everything about it, but yeah, if the
Yeah.
numbers look great, you figure it out. If you're
Yeah.
really strong numbers, and we burr everything out. So if we can burr it all out,
Gotcha.
take our money back out, do it again and again. That's the name of the game. So yeah,
Gotcha. So you're burning every single one of them.
everything multifamilies to this shopping complex we're buying at 5.8 mil. We'll burr it out and make the money roll and work for you.
Yep.
Sometimes that first year or two hurts because high
Mhm.
rates, high, whatever investors, but the long-term plan of things is better. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep. Definitely. That makes a lot of sense.
but so deal of the week, are you do you have any deals you're looking to raise money for right now? Anything particular, or do you have any projects you want to tell people about, or do you have anything of
Yeah,
that?
well, I mean, yeah, we're really like partnered with this fund now. So if anyone has like a deal in, you know, Texas, like in Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, or even anything in Memphis, Tennessee, we have buyers that are looking to buy 30, 40 plus deals in each of those cities. So if you want to work together, I'll be more than happy to see like what we can do on those. But yeah, that's what we're really, really focused on right now.
Nice. You don't have to raise capital, because you use you're not doing any large scale flips. You're just doing the
No,
50, $100,000 easy ones.
right,
Hi.
right.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah,
Nice. But it's good stuff. I love hearing all of the different sides of the business, and I love seeing, how somebody else runs their business, which is totally interesting to me. Um, you know,
yeah,
and you're doing a great job, man. You really keep it up and keep scaling at it, and try getting more bigger multifamily deals and wholesale those kind of things off. You can do stuff like that, think about. I know a
yeah.
friend of mine was doing that, was doing this wholesaling for multifamily and making a killing on that. Well,
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. There's some good margins in there for sure.
yeah. But so how can the audience out there and everyone's social media, how can they find you? And so do you have a pretty big social media following, which is awesome. How did you, we didn't even talk about that. You grew that thing, which is great. So how can everyone follow
Yeah,
you, and how did you grow that thing anyway?
I think mostly through TikTok. I think initially because as you know, when TikTok started to blow up initially, I was like, yeah, I'll
Yeah.
just make content here and see how it goes. And
Mm.
it grew just 10 times faster than Instagram. So I kept posting there and there and there.
How many TikTok
And
followers you have?
now,
I didn't even look at your TikTok.
right now it's at like 33,000.
Nice.
And then Instagram is
16.
16,000.
Yeah, I see that.
So yeah, but I had Instagram for,
Yeah,
years
yeah.
before. But I just try to post as much content as I can. I just post once a day. My handle on both of them is HAYANTOOO, so
Mm.
Hayato. Um, and yeah, I just try to post as much content as I possibly can, and try to give as much free information as I can as well, and kind of go over my journey too, and things that I learned sometimes because I learned something a lot too. Like once a week, there's something that I'm like, oh, I didn't know about that. And so I'll
Oh
try to
yeah.
post about that and just share it with everyone, really.
There's always something. You're always learning in this business. You're always learning. It's
Yeah.
like a never-ending learning business for sure. There's always
Yeah.
somebody
I'm
smarter,
usually I'm like,
bigger.
yeah, it really is. I'm like, what? That you can do
Yeah,
that in real estate? And they're like, yeah,
yeah,
we've been
yeah,
doing it for years. I'm like, no way.
yeah. There's always tricks to the trade, and people don't like to share it because it works for them often, and or it sounds too good to be true or something. But
Yeah.
nice. But yeah, thank you everyone for following. Also, you can follow my stuff is Indar Hawaii, like and follow and subscribe and do all that great stuff and comment on our post. We both love comments, and we both love to answer. I mean, I should speak for you, but I love to answer some of those questions that we get in our DMs. Some interesting questions. I actually enjoy answering some of them. I take my mornings and answer a lot of those questions. And yeah, so check us out, follow us in Hawaii and all our social media platforms. And thank you guys for listening, and thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, Indar. Appreciate it. And happy birthday as well.
Oh yeah, thank you so much.